Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Ronald and today I just wanted to show you how to make that small mandazi or bundazi as we call it in my language. I really love those things because you can have them with tea or just like a simple snack. And honestly, for the last 3 days I've been craving them and I want to have some, so I'm like, you know what, let me do a video about it. And well, the same recipe, by the way, if you want to check that out, I made the bigger versions as you can see, and those ones basically you can make them from the same recipe or something different, and there's different ways of doing it. But you know what, let's jump into it because I want to show you how that good looking stuff is done. Ready? Let's go. You can decide to do it by hand or you can just use the machine. I did use my hands to actually do it, but today I'm like, I have a KitchenAid. Why don't I use it? You know what? I'm gonna go for it. Alright, so the recipe calls for, actually that's my recipe right there, by the way. It does call for butter, but I have margarine, and you know my rules, guys. I use what I have in the house. Again, don't do what I do what I say. Quarter of a cup, measure it properly. That's me measuring half, and then I'm putting also half a cup of sugar. I'm using 2 eggs. Okay, so at this point I would change actually these attachments because now I'm going to use this one. So 3.5 cups, that's 2, 3.5 of all-purpose flour. Now put in my milk, in this case that would be a half a cup. So baking powder, I'll have a tablespoon in there. So I'm supposed to have a ginger, but again it's my recipe as I said, but I don't have it, so I'm gonna use some cinnamon. I want to get that little taste in there, a bit of cumin in there. I put a teaspoon of vanilla extract. There we go. Start it slowly. You don't have to overwork the dough. Okay. I highly suggest you lightly flour your working space. So if you have the right texture, see it's bouncing back a little bit, but also it's not getting stuck on your fingers. That means you definitely have it right. If it's still sticking, just add in some more flour and continue kneading, or maybe using your KitchenAid or whatever. So now I'm just going to roll it out and let's cut it. You can also cut any shapes out of this, whatever shapes you prefer, honestly. The sky is the limit here. If you have like one of those hearts, squares, or rectangles, or you just want them to be like little dolls, you can play with it really. And as I said, this is more like, think of it like a donut, except the texture is just a little different, not too different, but just like different. And donuts, the way they are cut are different from how I'm going to cut this, so that's the only difference. And also maybe the thickness, because I'm going to make sure the thickness here is not too big, because it's going to kind of double in size when it's actually being deep fried. And also the recipe, by the way, because I did make mandazi, the bigger ones, those ones you see, I have adjusted that recipe because if you've used it before and gives you some headache, I have adjusted that just right so that you don't have problems with it. I'm going to use a table knife, although they're not all the same, but it's almost, let's say, the thickness of your the handle of your table knife, like that, or slightly bigger of that. If you see my finger right here, it's just right about there, so it's basically this thick right here. So while I'm rolling this, I'm also making sure that my oil is going. Okay, and also have something where you're going to put your end product, basically, or finished product. So in this case I have a big bowl here. I'm just going to put in like semi paper towel so I can soak up the excess oil. Okay, once your oil basically hits 375, you're good to go. So what I'm going to do right now is actually just cut these in small squares. So again, as you can see, if you have enough flour in there, you should not have problems when you're cutting it. You should just cut just fine like that without sticking on your knife or sticking on your fingers. Here we go. Again, as close as I can in terms of squares. So I'm just go like that. So you see those little cubes or squares, and that's how it's done. And no, those squares won't really give you a headache. They won't join to each other or stick to each other. If you have put in enough flour, you should not have that issue. Alright, so just pick them up like that. I said, you don't worry about it, they won't stick on each other once they get into oil. And in we go. Just be careful so you don't splash yourself. And yes, they will let go of each other. I know they seem like they're attached to each other, but they will. Just move them around a bit like that. And do you see that golden brown right there? That is what you're looking for right there, to make sure you see the golden brown come to life. Not like burnt brown, but golden brown. And also don't overload your pan, just put in enough, that way they get all cooked evenly. And now let's take them out. Look at that, can't go wrong with that. And voila, it's time to enjoy them. Look at that. Wow, do you hear that? That means they're really crispy and also soft inside. It all looks nice and crunch outside and of course soft inside. So let's give it a try. That's pretty good. I said you can keep this for a long time, by the way. Put them in a Ziploc bag or maybe in some kind of a container. Put like maybe a paper towel so you can keep, taking away the excess oil or whatever. But other than that, I think we're done here. And by the way, I typically do a word of the day here. So the word of the day today, I'm going to say Mandazi. In my language, we say Mandazi, but you guys probably call it maybe mini donuts, maybe. Anyways, whatever you call it, at the end of the day, it's sweet. It's good with whatever. It's a nice snack. If you like this, recipe is right down below. And share, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye now.